I think we're recording. Willow, I can't hear you if you are talking. But yeah, like the black and white, I don't know. It like looks pretty clean to me, I think too.
No, it does. Definitely looks clean.
It's just gonna be bright as fuck in the morning.
Well,
There you are.
yeah. Alright, sweet, sweet. Alright, cool.
What up, man?
What's up?
Just waiting for I don't know who else. I was probably gonna start this here soon though.
Alright. I wonder if Ben wants to jump in. Let me hear him out.
So I was just gonna go back to just a random day on NQ and just kind of back test like the 15-minute charts and signals and kind of the strategy that I want to go using. So basically what my plan is get in on the volume signals on the 15-minute close. So you have to wait every candle to get in a trade. So you can't get in a trade when a candle's open. You have to basically make the choice based on the candles that are closed.
But are you also only using just volume signals then? Or are you still using like everything else, like your VWAP and shit?
So yeah, so I'm not going to use those two, but I think for the most part, I wanted to use like these lines basically. We're not going to be able to use supply and demand just because I'm not going to draw every zone for everything that we're back testing, but I would use the zones too.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, so.
Hell yeah.
And then I'll show you like my exit strategy too that I'm going to use. And it tends to lock in profits. I mean, you're on like the 15-minute chart, so like a candle or two is a lot of time for most people to hold, you know. So
15 minutes.
yeah, so like so like you like may not catch a trend like this entire drop, but you would catch probably 3/4 of it or like 2/3 of it based on how I'm going to scale out.
Nice.
So, do we want to back test? Are we waiting for anybody or should we just do it?
I'd say we do it like Nike.
All right. And I'm not going to take any trades before open, so we're waiting until 7:30 to take any sort of trade.
But you're still taking your signals, right?
Yeah. So, and then what I'm also kind of doing is like zooming out and like basing it on the overall market structure too. So like for like this, you know, we have this trend line here. We have an overall downtrend, and we just broke an area that acted as support for 1, 2, 3, like 3 times. So something like this. Granted, there's nothing really to base the volume off of on the very first candle, but like on this, seeing that this bounced here, and now we're testing it again, and it's a trend line, like a possible like break of a trend line, and then come back in, like this would be a short based on this
Well, here's
wick.
my thing. Do you ever do anything with Wyckoff? Because I was looking at the same thing and saying you had like that trend break towards the downside, right? So you see that change in character with that selling exhaustion. So it's safe to say that you're in an automatic rally. And if you're in that automatic rally, you're looking for points of resistance for the reversal back down to the secondary paths.
Oh yeah, that makes like total sense, but that's not what I think of, I guess. But yes, that makes total sense. So I don't really. So I'm just looking for like trends and like key zones or like key places that acted as support and then are gonna test again. So like on something like this, so I would get in on the volume spike on the close of this, and I would short it at the close with a stop above the high. And I would, so it's 45 points, I'd probably give it 10 more. So like you're risking about 55 points, which is a lot, but you are trading the bigger time frame, so your stops are just gonna have to be bigger in general, And
What are we looking for our exit point on that to justify the 45-point risk?
so I don't go in with a profit target per se. I mean, maybe I would have it down here just for the low a day, but I'm going to base it on the volume. And so I'll show you going in. My first exit is going to be on a volume spike or like a volume bar that's higher than the previous on a big candle that goes in the trade's favor.
Okay, and here's another question for you: is on the volume spike, are you always playing a reversal of the spike because the candle has to be in harmony, or are you looking for a divergent candle on volume?
So I will show you what I'm looking for, and I think it'll make more sense as I just go through it. So we get in here. I mean, if the target down here hits, I mean, even down here, because this is obviously like a demand zone right here. So maybe something like this. So even that is a 2-to-1 trade. So that's still solid. And then you have the resistance here, the trend line break, and possible comeback. So to me, that's a really good trade. So we'll see how it plays out. So we'll be looking for volume. Okay. So trades in our favor, 60 points, but I'm still in. I haven't gotten out yet. So volume is down on the wick, so this doesn't look like we're going to reject just yet. So I would not get out of this. I would hold on to this. So still.
For the second and third volume candle, sometimes like the second and third is greater, right? Like is that you see?
Sometimes the second is greater, yes, and that is definitely something weird to look out for. Yes.
Okay, okay.
So if you had a profit target, I mean, I would probably take some profit there just because it's low. It's not on a volume spike that I would get out on though, based on the system that I'm trying to use. So, but if you did, I mean, there would be nothing wrong with taking profits here because you're up 164 points. So you just like nailed that whole thing. But with the system I use, I mean, that would be hard to not take partial profits, and I probably would scale out a little bit just because that's such a big trade. But we go to the next one. This is where I'd get out. So this candle still went in my favor, but the volume is up, and this kind of looks like a reversal candle at this level here. So that's where I would scale out to like 2/3 of my trade. So you just hit 166 points. If you did three of the minis, you know, that's over 300 points. That's like $6,000. So I would scale 2 there, and now I have 1 runner, and I'd put my stop down to break even. And so then you kind of look, so then the next point to get out would be when the volume spikes again in your favor. That would be to scale the rest of the trade if it happens. So going on. Volume, so price is back down, but the volume hasn't spiked, but that's still good for us, so this is great. Volume is about the same. Candles still at the low. Like really, you're kind of just holding this last one, and you're up a ton of money. So there's really no need to like get out or scale out yet. Volume's down again. So it's still not a sign to get out, and we're still holding the lows, so that's solid. So this is where you would exit that last one. So the volume spike came in, price pushed back up. This looks like it's going to reverse, but on the last runner you have 191 points. So this whole trade was about 500 points, like fucking crazy. So does that all make sense? Does that make sense how I would trade it?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. I'm curious, so like while you're in the trade and you see those panels develop and they're not closed, I would say it goes a lot higher than you normally would. I mean, you're still just holding no matter what. Trying to stay disciplined.
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do going forward is once I get in the trade and I set my stop, I'm not gonna scale profits until the close of a 15-minute candle and a spike. So if it comes up and hits my stop, then like that's kind of what it is. But yeah, I'm gonna wait for the closes and see how I can fare with that. So yeah, that was one day, and after that, I would just walk away because you just made like $10,000 on 3 of the minis. So.
So I do have a question on that very first candle. So are we looking at or testing because like Where it's that top of the trend line, it did close slightly above it. We're not really paying attention to that. Are we looking at that upper wick and it's below that key level? Is that what we're mainly looking at?
So normally I don't like playing the open too much because it doesn't tell you a whole lot, but due to this level being so big, just from the price
Yeah.
action back here, and then the trend line breaking, but we're not really pushing through it super strong. That's why I would take that at the open. But typically, I don't take the open too much unless it's at one of these like key areas.
Oh, got it, got it.
So, all right. Yeah. So starting next week, I'm only going to trade on the candle closes of the 15 minute. So I'm going to wait each time. So that's my goal. Yeah. All right. So let's go. Now we'll go to the next day since that trade hit. There's no need to trade anymore. I'm going to need to, yeah, because if I stick around, I'll end up looking and like being like, "Oh, well maybe this kind of looks good," and then I'll fuck it up. So, yes. All right. So this is the candle one of the next day. This is the exact same level
Oh, wow.
that we rejected before. But so I wouldn't short that because the only point of like your risk is gonna have to be here. So since this is such a key area that got rejected, I would probably look for maybe a pullback into this area just to get a little better risk to reward because right now you're risking 175 points and that's just way too much. Because you're also at this, you're getting close to this zone right here where we've bounced before. You know, we bounced here, kind of chopped around here. So I'm only looking to take trades when the risk to reward at these levels is decent, basically.
Quick question, Fred.
Yeah.
Um, so under zones, like those macro levels, is there a level on how to test these variables?
Not really, no. I'm just kind of going based off what just like the past like price action. So all like all that I did was put it on the 1 hour, and then I just drew where like price kind of turned around basically, where it bounced. That's it. And then you can even do it on the line chart if you want to. It makes it kind of easier to see.
Wow, never tried that.
That's definitely a hack that I've been kind of telling everybody to do is put on the 1 hour and then put it on the line chart and then just draw areas where it bounces. So we're at the key level. We're rejecting again, so it's obviously really strong. But we're down here. I don't want to chase it, so we'll wait for something else to happen. Oh, so looks like it's almost chopping in these zones, right? We hit here, bounced, drop from there. The volume's lower on here, so to me, there's no short or long here yet. Like this is just chopping. Now that is something that looks a little better, you know, because since this was so strong previously, we rejected open, and this could be like a double top, like in intraday type of thing. Even though the volume's not up, that would be a decent short, I think, if you were able to risk. I mean, the risk is a little more, but you're playing the bigger candles, so you're going to have to just deal with it. So I would try that, I think, just based on just how strong this is. We bounced hard, possibly bounce hard again. So we'll see. So I'd probably target like kind of down here, but we'll see what happens. And then I'd put this stop above. This is 82, so do like 5 points above. So, and this is also the previous day close, this blue dotted line. So that's kind of a key area as well. All right, so volume's kind of, so like you can see here, the volume's falling and we're just chopping. So really there's not a ton of direction yet, so you don't really know what's going to happen. We're kind of basing it on this area here, this 12,550 to hold. Boom. So volume is not up yet. Volume is still lower than the previous one. So you're up 100 points. You could definitely take profits there if you wanted, but sticking to the strict rules, you wouldn't take profits yet.
Wow.
I know it's kind of ballsy, I guess, but it works. Look at that, because then you get this volume spike with a candle in your favor. That's 200 points or 197 points. So you would scale out 2/3 of your spot there, move this to break even, and see if we go lower. So volume spike again, candle in your favor. So that's where you would scale out the last of the trade. So that was 283 points on your last runner, basically.
Like it's just
That's what I'm gonna stick to. Yeah, there's like times where it's like the same. So like if this one was probably the same as this, I would probably still kind of scale out.
Okay.
Just because this one was spiked and then this one's also spiked. So, but yeah. Just based on like previous price action.
Yeah, we're just like
Right. Right. Yeah. So like based on the 15-minute, yeah, like this one didn't break that, so that's a good sign too. Just kind of knowing that like this wick didn't break above this.
Yeah.
So like those like little like things in the candles that don't really seem like they matter, I think they matter. Yeah.
Okay.
So hit that one. So dude, you made like 1,000 points in like 2 days on NQ. So next day. See what the price is looking like. Is that? Oh, damn. So news must have came out at 6:30. Jesus.
Wow.
450 to 220. Good God. So looks like dude. It's the same zone, same level. So bad news came out up there again. Obviously came down. So if I saw this, I'd be looking for like a bearish trade, right? Like maybe a pullback up into this area, like where. So I think so. So based on what the candle looked like, this is possibly the move back because this is like the bottom here. So this looks like a double bottom. But the bar going up is super low volume, and this is also prior to the open. So this action is a little funky. So I'm just basing it based on the candles that open. So huge candle at open. We did have bad news and we did break this structure. So this could be like a retest of this line, you know. So I don't think you can take it long here because your risk is way too big. You're gonna have to like literally risk over like 200 points. So I don't think going against the bad news is smart or going long really unless we break up here or bounce down here and you get a good entry at the bottom. So we'll see what this trend line does. So that's a pretty big wick. See, I would be more comfortable taking this short than anything, and I'd put my stop above here. Or if you wanted a better risk, maybe you could do something like this and hope you get filled. I mean, we could try that. But based on... What's that? Yeah, kind of based off the wick, and then based off this huge sell, and then because this area, literally every time we've gone to it, we've sold off. So I would probably do that. Your risk is about 75 points. I mean, you could probably target down here. So let's see. We'll see if we get filled. We didn't get filled. So, but this doesn't really tell me a whole lot. Like the volume is still down from the previous candle, but the sellers did step in. So let's see. All right. So there we got filled. So now we're in profit. And we'll see if we get a volume spike down to where we're hoping. So even though this is more green too, it doesn't scare me as much because the volume is still falling off. So we have two candles that are going higher, but volume is down. So to me, that seems kind of just like a fake move. So you got okay. So if you're going based on the rule, you would take partial profits here. So the volume's barely up, but it is up. So if you're sticking to the rule like 100%, I mean, that's 114 points. So I would scale out and put my stop at break even and see what happens. Still kind of chopping. Volume went down. It's just been kind of flat here, so I would just hold and see. Volume still flat. It is coming back up after breaking the lows, so if you wanted to exit a runner there, I wouldn't blame you. I mean, you would still make a profit on it. I mean, you still make... Oh. What is it? That's 200 points. I mean, these candles are huge. So, or I mean right here, it's about 100 points. So, but if you were just sticking to the plan, have your stop at break even, see what happens. Nothing, but it's coming back up. Oh. And you could take your profit there because the volume is slightly higher. It's pretty close, but if you're sticking to the rule, volume is up and you're out at that candle. So that's 3 for 3, man.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So you're actually going to be only 15 minutes, and you actually are going to be only just a month.
Yep, exactly. So let's see if we can keep the streak going. I mean, I'm sure we're bound to get a bad trade, but like the key to this is letting it play out, and like your risk has to be a lot more. So you kind of have to size down, but it works. Like the volume signals and the price action works on the 15 minutes if you base it off of kind of what's going on. So this is right before open the next day. We're still trending down. I don't know if I'd probably draw it kind of like this. Kind of looks like a channel almost. Maybe a wedge. But I'd probably draw something like that. So, and I'd look back. I don't see any price action down here. So, but it looks like a falling wedge. So we'll see what happens. Does that look like a signal at all?
No.
I would say no either because we just literally went from zone to zone and we're right back in the middle.
Yeah.
So we'll wait. Literally the exact same. I mean, you maybe could go short if you wanted, but I think since we're in this chop zone and we're right in the middle of it, I don't like that we're just wicking up and down. So I think I'd want a little more direction before we take a trade. Holy shit. Alright, so we're up. So volume hasn't spiked. We do have a wick on top, but that's a really strong candle that broke out. I think I would wait here because I don't think you have a good risk to reward. I mean, if you go long here, where's your stop? Like, I feel like it'd have to be down here. That's what I'm thinking too. I think that's the smart way to go as well. Like we broke and we held, so maybe we'll come back and test here and then kind of get a better entry. So I would agree with you. See, that still looks super weak to me. Like we're up, but we have lower volume and it's a half a wick. Like half the candle is wick. So it doesn't look like a reversal. It looks more like we're just kind of like a flagging or something at the top. So I don't think I'd take a trade. Because we're also kind of in the middle of a zone too. Like we have area down here and an area up here, but we're kind of back in the middle. Now that I like. Does that make sense? Why?
Low volume.
Exactly. So I think this you could do a pretty low risk trade. Put it under the low of this wick or even a little bit more. So you're only risking about 50 points. And I would target, like the high of day maybe. Right. I mean, if you look on the 5 minute, it's probably more of a flag. Or so if you look on the 5 minute, like yeah, there's dropped, but look at the volume. It's so low. It's super low. And you can see that on the 15 too. Like it's just crazy low. So I would take that trade. So right, exactly. Right. So look at that shit. Boom. Volume is still lower though. So if I mean if you wanted to scale out on profits on like 130 points, like I wouldn't blame you. But if we're waiting, let's see. So oh damn. So like that's tough too. Volume's the same, but we're at a doji right after like a huge green. I think to be safe, I would probably scale like 2/3 out because that like that's a solid trade, and this could possibly go back down. So I would scale those, move the stop to break even on the last one, and then let's see it play out. Dude, even lower volume, I think this is gonna push again. I think so on like maybe like a 30-minute or something. Ooh, that sucks. So you can either scale out or hold it and see what happens. All right, it got hit. But that was a 3 for 3.
I wonder, do you think because that big candle, so we don't see that spiky volume or anything, but at the same time, there's complete divergence between the volume and size of those candles. They were really going to go to the top, like,
Right.
even regardless of how it's going along. It's probably around like the past two candles with volume should probably be exit.
I think you're right on that. I think seeing this like low volume push is fake, but I've also seen it where they like push low and then this next one is like the massive one and then it still goes. So I think holding here and then waiting for the next one to play out and really seeing like, okay, so this is the same, but look at the body on this. It's like 1/10 the size of this one. and we're at a key area, you know, where price has tended to turn around. So I think that would be a good exit, where you kind of break the rule a little bit, but you're doing it like to lock in profits. Right. So I think so. I think that's solid. So three. Let's see what the next day brings. If only I traded this like this when it happened. Fuck. All right. So kind of have a key area here where we bounced before, but we did kind of have like this V-shape recovery. And there's not really a trend line. I mean, you can't really put too much there. Kind of just tapering off, so we'll see. So, strong candle up into this area. Your risk to reward is terrible, so you want to see kind of what the reaction is at this level. Still looks pretty weak to me. You got the wick on top, volume isn't super high or anything. No signal yet, in my opinion. I don't really see an entry short or long here either. See, like this is something where I'd definitely be looking for a short because you just have volume falling off and price just pushing. So we'll see what happens, but the divergence is pretty big. Nothing. I mean, this looks like it's going to push again to me. Right. I mean, what's your risk? So, I mean, you could take a risk there. Honestly, I think if you wanted to go long, going long on this candle would have been better just because the volume is so low and it's a pullback. But, I mean, I think you could make your risk pretty tight. So if you went long on here, I'd only risk to the bottom of the previous candle. So like it, so like if it, so you're, so that'd be like a 40-point risk. But it's a low volume pullback, but it's not a big type of pullback, so I would be iffy to take it there. I think this confirms it a little bit more because you got the volume on the green push up. That's what I'm thinking. So let's see. Still flagging. There's volume coming in again, and you're up on the trade now. So technically, for the rule, you would take profit. I mean, you're up. I think you're right. Right. So that's kind of why I had the rule because I would hold stuff too long, and then price would kind of pull back on me, and then I would give up a ton of profit. So, and I think you're right. You know, you're at this key area. We've kind of been flagging. You know, this could easily break and just drop. Right. Right. And I mean, and like risking this was, I mean, like the signal was there, but this is kind of risky too because we ran up like so much. So like, how much bigger is this other push going to happen? You know. So I would scale out there. I mean, that's like 60 points on two of the trades. So or on two of your positions. So let's see. And then you'd scale your last one there. So it did break, and yeah, you got 160 points on three of the micros or the minis. So I think that was solid. It would have been better if you shorted or longed here, but you never really know when. I mean, I think I'd rather wait for something else to play out. But that worked. And then on a day like that, that would be really hard just to watch this run up like that and not be like, damn, like I wish I was in it too, you know? This was the 13th of May. Oh, and look at our exit. You almost timed the top. It just fell. That's what I'm saying, man. All right, next day. So so let's look at the price action. We zoom out. Kind of just chopping in this area. I don't like it too much, honestly. You got, some zones here, but we'll see. Um, kind of have something, maybe something like this. All right. And, I mean, it looks like it's rejecting, but this doesn't tell me shit. We're right in the middle of two zones. I'd rather take a trade around here or around here. This could go either way. Right. So, so we're moving down, but there's still a ton of wicks, and this level is still holding. So I wouldn't. I mean, granted, this trend line broke, but I wouldn't trust it just yet. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That was money. And then you get out like here. Oh yeah. That would have been sick. All right. Next. This is basically the same candle as the first candle. I mean, we're in the exact same spot. It does look like it's reversing, but the volume's lower, so I don't. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Like here or something. I mean, here we're kind of right at the trend, so I could definitely see this either going back up here and then failing and falling down again, where it just kind of tests the trend. Because I know like lots of people draw trends like this, where you don't use the wicks or anything. So this looks like, yeah, we're either maybe testing it again and gonna fall or break back through. To me, you don't really know at that point because we're literally right at it. So it could go either way. And then like if this volume was up here, then I would say long. But your long, like your risk sucks there though. So I think there's really no trade yet just because we're chopping. Push up. It's a strong candle. Volume's lower though, so I still wouldn't take a trade. I don't see anything yet. Right, and then this is where we kind of sold off pretty strong too. So I would look for see if that we get some. Holy shit! So on that, the volume's still lower, which sucks. It's just pure chop. So I wouldn't short that because your risk is pretty big and it's not a strong sign. That's like 100 points, and the volume's not up, so we're holding. Ah, damn. That's a that's a fucking tough day. Damn. But but like that's kind of also the edge in this too is if you're waiting for the closes and you're looking for the volume and it's not there, like this is just like I guarantee there's tons of people that just got worked over and all that. So I would still stay out of it, even though I think this is going to break down and the volume's probably going to come in on a break. But there's no really. I mean, maybe we could get it back in on a retest of this level if we break it and come back. Oh my God, that sucks. So this one, yeah. I mean, and like that offers a pretty good risk to reward too. I mean, you're only going to risk about 50 points to possibly, if like this thing rips back up. Because we also broke the low of the day and then it got bought up right away. And we're like kind of at a key area as well, so that's where I'm like actually looking to take a trade, not in the middle. Um, it's a little bit higher, yeah, and right. So I would say, yeah, I'd say let's do it. Let's see. Oh, I mean that's not bad, but it's not good either. Oh, there we go. So 53 points you could lock in if you wanted. It's the volume spike in your favor. 53. Take your profits. Let's see where this last one goes.
Right?
Yep.
Oh,
Volume down on a bigger push. I'm still fine with the runner. So maybe a low volume pullback. I don't know. I mean, this is the chop zone. If you wanted to scale your last one there, I wouldn't blame you, but let's see what happens. Yeah, yeah, yes. So this is like this is like it's like three failures though. I feel like we broke it, failed, came back up, failed, broke it down, failed. Like there's so many. I mean, this on the 5 minute, I bet looks fucking awful. Like, like if you tried to trade that, oh, dude, ugh, no, thank you. But so let's see if we hit our last one. So we would have got stopped out on our last one if we were following the rules. If you took profits, I mean, you definitely could have scaled out here. But oh, of course it would hit our stop. I bet it runs up again. Yep, there it goes. So, I mean, either way, that was still a good trade. Dude, what a fucking like week. Right. Right. Yeah, that's how I felt too. All right, next day, we're back at this huge level, this freaking massive level, so something's gonna happen here. All right, we're pushing into it. I still don't have a lot of faith in it though, breaking, but we'll see. Oh, there you go. So we're in the middle of two lines. I, the risk is too big. The volume's super low. I wouldn't touch it. Volume is still low. me take this out.
I think it's just
oh, I know. Like that's about a 50-point wick. I mean, on the 5 minute, it probably looks awful. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, so we did break above like this area, and this is kind of holding, so that's a good sign. I just don't see a sign yet to go long. Still weak on the sell off. I don't see anything. Oh, ooh. So okay, so we're back to being weak. I do see this. Just noting. I like it, but it's pretty extended, and I'd want to see like maybe a pullback or something. Um, I mean, if this volume was big, I'd maybe take it long, but I think I'd probably wait one more to get a pullback maybe into this area more so because yeah, I don't know because this, I mean, you could definitely short this with super low risk. Like if you wanted to, right, like maybe like a 20-point risk, like just something small, and if it hits, awesome. If it doesn't, so yeah, let's try it. But I think we may get. Sorry, go ahead. Uh-huh. Right, right. Yeah, it like doesn't tell you a lot. I think the best thing would be to wait for one more, but the next one may also just fall through this level. So I think if you're feeling kind of risky with the tight stop, yeah, why not? So we got stopped. So that would have been minus 20 or 60, I guess, on 3 of the minis. Now this I think would be a better entry to go short. We're up, volume is down. Like I would probably go, oh, that's long. Short here, and then you can base your like risk off the wick maybe. So this orange dotted line is the higher low from 2 days ago. So I'd probably put something right there, like maybe risk like 50 points or so. And I think that's a better entry because we pull back on low volume, and then let's see what we get. Those bastards. Damn. That sucks. Our first loss. Right. So, right. I mean, okay, so we took a loss, so let's see if we can earn it back this same day. So, I mean, this kind of looks like a supply zone-ish. Volume's up, and we do have about a half of a wick on the candle, so let's see if we can get something maybe. I don't think I would short it just yet, because it is still a pretty strong candle on volume, but I mean, you could long it, but that'd be pretty. Should we try it? No? I would just wait for the move to see kind of where the volume comes in, because if the trade goes in your favor, the volume's going to pick up at some point, and then that's kind of like your profit. So typically I don't do like actual profit targets, but I'd probably put a profit target like around here maybe, or maybe like up here, like the high. So I mean, we definitely could. You could keep it really tight if you wanted, but there's always the chance of it. So I would probably put it under the low of the previous candle if you were going to long it. That's risky, but we can try.
I don't.
No, well, there you go. So back down. That looks better to short to me because the volume finally came in, but it didn't come in at the top. So there's also that risk as well. Typically, I want to see like the volume spike. I mean, looking back, I guess the entry would have been good here, but
Hey, Daniel.
yeah. When I trade live, yeah. Um, but just when I was doing like the back testing, I wasn't doing that. No,
But you're
it was super high. Yeah, yeah. So here's something where like what you just said would have prevented us from going long. You have a 45-minute supply zone right there. So if you go back to the 15, this this is a candle that hits at that zone on high volume with a wick. So that's why it definitely is good to look back on like the 30, the 45, like the 90, because that is definitely a valid zone. And so I think if we knew that going into it, obviously we would have probably shorted this. Stop above the high, and then wherever your target is. But if you didn't know that, like this looks like a rally-based rally, right? So I think that's kind of where like supply and demand comes in and helps you kind of trade with the smart money versus it. They're basically trapping you here to make it look long, and I bet they're going to dump it. So say we knew that, whatever. Ooh, man, they suck. We didn't get hit. I would probably maybe exit there, even though if your stop didn't get hit, I see volume coming in with a strong candle close up here. I mean, you could hold, but I think, yeah, we get stopped. Oh, this is FOMC. No wonder this is shit. I wouldn't trade the morning of this day, if I'm being honest. So let's see if we can trade FOMC and see what happens. Was it? So I do have another zone right here. So FOMC is right in the middle of this. So hopefully we would see that prior to it coming out. And now we're just waiting to figure out which one's going to break. That's what I think too. Because I feel like people in the morning are like either like buying or selling or like they're freaking out or, like either like buy the dip or people are freaking the fuck out and selling everything. So, I mean, look at that. Wick, wick, drop, pop, drop. It's terrible. So if we waited for FOMC, like that looks so like super good. Volume's up. We're rejecting off of a zone. You risk like maybe 55 points. And then and since it's FOMC, if this thing rips, like, you know, this is going. Scale 1 there, or scale your two-thirds there for 130 points. Wait for the next volume spike. That one. So I'm typically waiting for volume spikes in my favor. I mean, you could get out there if you wanted, but this honestly looks like we dipped down and it got bought up. So, and then that, Jesus. I think I would take an exception to the rule, and I would wait for this next candle, because, right, this is the end of the day actually, so I would either hold that, I guess you could either hold it or scale it or just get out if you wanted, but I like that, yeah, right there with the volume. I mean, this probably, does it run afterwards? Maybe, no. Well, we're not swinging though, so you would take your profit then. Damn, I was thinking that was going to go. So we're back into this zone. Day after FOMC. We broke it. I don't think the risk is there. I think the risk is too big. I mean, it looks good, but I mean, it's 80 points. But I would probably wait. Oh, this is probably the day that. So volume's down. Have some wicks. We are in a pretty strong trend though. I probably wouldn't short that just because we're basically at the lows. So this is a better entry, I think, if you wanted to go short. So with the trend selling off, low volume on this big candle, put your stop there, and that would be your risk. Does anyone else like it or no?
Yeah, I like that.
Like, I feel like this is good because this has a kind of a zone right here. We're putting our stop above it. The volume pullback's low. Let's see. There's your volume spike finally. It's slightly higher, but 110 points.
On this trade, man, what was your how does the even with that inverse camera right there before the shoot up the panel? What are your accomplishments? I see there's a little bit of this quiet on there. Basically, we're touching out here the resistance line. So there's your two.
Right. So we're at the resistance line. I don't know if the 30-minute. Oh. So if you were checking the charts, obviously this is a 30-minute supply zone.
That's a strong one too.
Right, and the fact that we're in a really strong downtrend, like we just started like falling. So you definitely want to go in short when we get like the low volume pullback. So I saw this candle pull back on the lower volume at the key level and right at a supply zone. So I'd probably short that because your risk is pretty small. I mean, relatively small. It's about 61 points, which is decent for like the type of trading we're doing, and it's above the zone. So mostly the plays I'm looking for are like to get in on like the low volume pullbacks on trends or the high volume spikes at the peaks and valleys. So those are like the two types of like trades I'm looking to make. So we scaled out one. Holy shit. And then I would definitely scale out that because that's huge. That's probably going to keep going. Oh. But, yep, that one hit too. Easy peasy. I mean, if we didn't trade the open of FOMC, I don't think we had a losing trade, or I think we only had one. So I'll do a few more days, and then, yeah, so this is basically how I backtest, you know. I mean, you could go pretty in-depth too, and if you wanted, like, you know, chart zones and stuff, I mean, it'd probably take a little bit longer, but I don't think it's a bad idea, you know.
Yeah, I think let's see that we should have
Right. So that'll definitely give some help to like the trades too, where you're not going long in the zone or something. All right. So we sold off again. This could be a double bottom or kind of like a triple bottom. This looks double bottomy, but we are kind of chopping right here in this area. So we'll see what happens when market opens. Oh shit. Oh shit. I like that to go short, but your risk is pretty high. So this is one where you may want to do like a limit order, like halfway up maybe, just to limit your risk. I think I'd do that. So we got filled, but the candle isn't great. We're still in profit, but we pretty much just wicked up and down in this zone, so there's really no direction. This may be a loser, but we'll see. Oh, they hit it. So that sucks. That would have been a loser, but this might end up playing out. Damn. So we took a loss. That sucks. Dude, so nasty. That's fucking awful. So let's see if we get something better. I mean, we're just falling off. I think being more conservative, I probably would have waited. It's like here, like that to me doesn't look. So this doesn't look like a reversal to me. Even though we have a ton of wicks, the volume is just falling off. So to me, like a long there doesn't look bad, and you could probably keep your wrist pretty tight. But this overall trend is just massively down. So I don't know if doing a trade like that would be, I think this would be pretty risky just due to the wicks, but due to the volume, I don't think it's going to reverse all the way down, but I could be wrong. See, I mean, you kind of have something here, but we broke it. It just looks terrible. So like this would probably be a day to like sit on your hands really. I mean, if you see like wick, wick, wick after 3 candles and the volume falls, that's probably a good idea just to sit on the side and wait versus trying to force something that may not work. So I think if we're going to play conservative, I would probably just wait till something actually shows. Like even that looks awful. We're still in the same range, right in the wicks. The volume hasn't shown anything. It's pure chop. That's the 5 minute. Good God.
It's terrible.
So bad. Still nothing. Oh my God. Is there like news coming out this day? Like this is holy shit. This was May 19th. There you go. You finally get something. God, that was horrible. So, yeah. Oh yeah. Right. And I think the thing to keep you out of this is just the volume on this. So, I mean, e- every candle is mostly a wick. The volume's down. It's not telling you anything. Like this candle looks super nice if the volume was higher, but it's even lower, you know? So I think if you're being smart about it, you probably wouldn't trade anything there. I don't think longing or shorting this on this candle with like in the middle was that bad of a trade though, just because the trend was so strong down. Like it was a little more risky, I think, but I don't think that was a bad trade at all because we did kind of break the highs here, like the overnight highs, and then wicked right back down. So I think that could have trapped a lot of people. And if you did short that, I mean, obviously we're playing the rules. Like you did end up going in profit over 120 points.
Right.
So, but going based off the rules that you would have lost. So let's see if we can earn it back. All right, volume's up, big candle up. We're at a key level. Maybe looking for some consolidation or a low volume pullback, kind of like that. Probably risk. See, on these, I always wonder if I should wait, like, for another one to form, or if you get in now and just, I mean, if you put your stop under the previous candle, that's probably your safest bet. It's just a lot more risk. But you could also size down for that as well. But I don't think that would be a bad trade because this is also a zone we just created on the 15 minute. So there, you could also do like the halfway where, you know, you put your entry at the halfway point of this candle. So if it comes back and hits it, you get filled. I think I like that better. Let's try that. Right. So I think either placing a trade at the halfway mark of this candle or maybe waiting down here, but there's no guarantee that that actually hits or gets filled. So let's see. All right, we're in now, and that's like a perfect candle to get in on too. You got the volume up, like a hammer on hopefully a flag, and we got even a better entry than where the candle closes. So, wow.
Yeah.
Sometimes it be like that.
Yeah.
You do have it's a 90 minute. I don't like it actually. Never mind.
Yeah.
This candle isn't as strong as I want it to be. But well, that sucks because that looks so good.
Yeah.
Because that's like something I've noticed too is like the volume spikes on some of the reversals that have been happening don't happen at the peak. I mean, I guess this is kind of the peak, but it's like it spikes up really hard and the candle looks super strong, and then we kind of fade off and then drop. Like it's really hard to catch it. This is one you might be able to catch more on like the fifth, on like the 5, but I mean even that, like the this candle maybe.
Maybe look at it as like distribution at the top range.
Right. I mean, and yeah. I mean, granted, like you're like gonna take some losing trades, you know. So there's, I still think that was a super good long, but
I think it would probably make them play like
right. That's what I think so too. We can see if we get any more. See, and then they got this. Oh man, this is terrible. They're gonna drop it all the way back down, aren't they? I mean, it's pretty choppy. It looks terrible.
I mean, if you look at it, that might be really
This, this right here.
yeah, like if you look at like that realm and then you compare it to you just had your automatic reaction like this type of period of time, right? Depending on like this volume or volume right here, it could be like distribution range
Right.
but it would be a very weak secondary test. And that's also what the low prayer
Oh yeah, yeah, it is right here. You're right. So that wouldn't be a bad short there, I think, because this is the highest volume you've had in a while. But that's also the end of the day too.
Yeah.
So right. So this day might have been a day where it took a loss and you just had to kind of deal with it. I mean, this kind of looked like a good long, but you'd have to probably get in down here. But you did have the volume with the push up. And then if you stuck to the rule, I mean, you would have got out here and then here. So I think it's a matter of just playing them as they come to you. And if they work, they work. If they don't, then, you know, that's just part of the process. You know, you're going to take some of losers, but if you take all the ones that you get, then you're going to make money overall. And that's that day, I think. Yeah. All right. What time is it? Oh, it's 5:15. I'm gonna have to go. I can stay around for like 5 more minutes, but did like that all make sense?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So that's what I'm gonna be trying to play for next week. You know, just play the candles as they come, and then kind of put the stops where they need to be, even if they're a little far away, and just let it play out. You know, and then you take profits on the volume spikes in your favor, and then hold a runner if you want. If not, you can just scale out the whole thing.
I like it. Yeah. I think the whole thing we have launch consumers CPI on Friday,
Right. I think Wednesday, Thursday might be a little slower because I think that CPI on Friday is going to be really big. Like people are really worried about that and looking at that to come out. So I would probably maybe kind of scale down Thursday or risk off Thursday just because I think we might chop waiting for that news to come out.
Yeah, and I believe I'm not 100% sure that information comes out before this trade, right? It's like 8:45 and minus points. So
Oh,
I
I think you're right. Yeah.
whatever happened to that beige I don't think it did much to the market. I don't agree with this. I think that's the cutest enough that we do. And once they announced it, I didn't see it too much to the market.
Yeah, the beige book, yeah, from what I've seen, it hasn't moved the market a lot. So
I think that's predictive of what the next level is going to be or something.
no, the beige book I think is the economic conditions of what the Fed is like tracking and stuff.
Yeah, it's just like it's kind of like those that use that. So it's like a certain piece of that conversation.
So the beige book is it looks like it's a summary of commentary on the current economic conditions. So it's basically what they say about the economy currently, basically what the Fed says, I think.
Okay.
Which I think is kind of what everyone already predicts or kind of has been talking about the whole time. So I think that's why it probably doesn't move the market too much because everyone kind of knows what the Fed is doing or thinking for the most part. Well, sweet. I'm gonna have to go. If you guys want to stay on, you can definitely stay on and chat and stuff. But I'm gonna go eat some dinner.
Yes, sir. Thanks again, Sean.
Yeah, man. I will see you guys tomorrow. Let's get it. All right. See you guys.
See you.